Así mismo, señores, estamos aquí en el programa. Bienvenidos a sábado a las 11 de la mañana. Y este es un sábado muy especial, un sábado completamente diferente porque este sábado es el día antes del domingo. ¿Pero qué es este domingo? This Sunday, folks, it's Father's Day. So this is pre-Father's Day, kind of like Christmas Eve. So Father's Day Eve. And I'm waking you up right now if you guys are hanging out in your house and you're thinking about, what am I doing tomorrow? Well, hopefully I got some ideas for you guys. And I'm hopefully going to make your neighborhood smell something like barbecue, because that's what we love to do. And we've got so much that we can do on Father's Day to celebrate the dads, to celebrate family. And it's very interesting how Father's Day came about. So today, I'm going to share with you guys all the things you thought you knew about Father's Day. I'm going to break them down and then bring you some new knowledge about Father's Day. And then myself, I'm a dad. And my experience as being a dad. And basically on this program, as you know, we're always breaking the preconceived notions, the stereotypes of what it's like to be from a neighborhood. Well, what about the neighborhood of being a dad? The neighborhood of your own community, the neighborhood of your role inside your own little neighborhood, which is your house. This is something we're going to explore today. This is something we're going to talk about today, because tomorrow's Father's Day. And tomorrow's the day where everybody says, well, let's give him a tie. Let's give him an apron. Hey, dad's going to do the barbecue. But who has dad or the father been your entire life? So we're going to break that preconceived notions. And I want to hear from the dads who are out there. Connect with me on From the Neighborhood. Any of the social media profiles, you can look me up, From the Neighborhood. Reach out to me and say, hey, I love today's episode. You know what? I learned something. Hoy aprendí algo. Hoy yo me siento más como papá. Me siento más relleno como hombre. And I hope I can put this thing across, because I'm talking to the male fathers that are out there. I know there's a lot of women who put on both hats, but I'm talking to the guys, because a lot of times as fellas, we don't speak. So I want to connect with you guys. Again, it's From the Neighborhood. Reach out to me and just let me know what's on your mind. You know, there's a lot of things I'm working on. One of the things I'm going to be doing is starting up the Latino Business Network. So there's a Latina Business Network, and we're going to mingle with them as well. And there's plenty of stuff that we can share. But the Latino Business Network, a place for guys to express themselves, their vulnerabilities, the things that they think about and don't necessarily want to share because, well, it's not a safe place. You know, they're going to get made fun of, or they're going to be thought differently by their spouse or family members. You all know we can get really critical on each other. And that affects our mental health. That affects our performance, who we can be out there. So I'm going to be starting up the Latino Business Network. Again, I want you guys to connect with me From the Neighborhood. Ya ustedes saben, para que estén en la red, en la asociación, membresía de esta red de negocios de latinos que estamos creando. Yo creo que ustedes se conecten conmigo From the Neighborhood. Buscan esas tres palabras. And besides that, folks, connect with me by wearing the merch, by representing your neighborhood. You guys already know. You go to shop.fromtheneighborhood.com. I'm super excited for this new store that we released. Beautiful stuff out there, especially the Elements collection, which is what makes up who you are. What's that? Your neighborhood. That has an influence on you. It connects with you. And as far as advertising, guys, here at Latino Mixx, we got an entire team. You guys can hook up with me, reach out to me. You already know how. I said it like a million times. Conéctase conmigo si ustedes tienen negocios y se quieren conectar con vecindario. So if you want to connect with your neighborhood, be in touch with the community, this is the program to do it. We're interviewing local notables all the time, so they're going to hear you here and through your speakers. So dale play a tu bocina. You already know your business is going to be heard through here. So reach out to me and we'll get your business connected. And guys, with that, it's a guy's day. We're hanging out, right? And usually we get told that we're the bad guys, right? We're the bad boys. We're the ones getting in trouble and all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to throw it back to a classic that if you didn't turn on the radio, all right, you didn't hear it on the radio, but you definitely saw it on television because it was a classic show. You all know the show Cops, and we're going to go with that from the Inner Circle, Bad Boys. Let's go.
De regreso con Anthony from the Neighborhood.
That's right, folks. And if you remember the song, this is the part where it says Cops is being brought to you by, right? This is the part right there where you know your show is about to start and you're about to see the craziest things on television. I remember this show with my dad. I remember watching this with my dad, and my dad said, that happened outside of my grocery store. O sea, el papá mío tenía bodega y eso pasaba frente de la bodega. So when my dad saw Cops, he was like, yeah, we had that happen the other day. You know, guys jumping over fences, getting chewed up by dogs, crazy stuff. We were in East New York, and you know, back then in East New York, there was a lot of empty lots. And coincidentally, we were on a street called New Lots Avenue. And right in this section, New Lots in Malta, was a couple of abandoned buildings, steel drums, people keeping warm in the winter. And we would see everything. We saw there was gunshots right in front of us. There was robbings, killings, all sorts of stuff. So the show Cops was no surprise, but it was a pastime of basically every Sunday. And I knew once that show came on and then The Simpsons, I knew it was school the next day, right? Because that's the way we lived it, right? We lived it by the programming of our television. We were at a time where, we wanted dad to come home. So on this weekend, Father's Day Eve, where you get to spend it with your dad, make sure it's something special. And I know we got all the things we can get on right now with On Demand. Put on his favorite movie. Get him his favorite, whatever it is, his favorite drink, his favorite meal, his favorite song, his favorite show, and I hope it's this one. Get it on there so we can recognize his day. There's so many things about Father's Day that we don't know. And the struggle to have a Father's Day is something that very, very few people know. So basically, to become a dad, let's take it back to how do we start? ¿Cómo es que llegamos a ser padre? It's a decision we make. It's something we have to think about. And we got to say, do I want to be the dad at this point in my life? Do I want to be this person with all these responsibilities? Can I be this person? It's huge. And I remember my dad, he would sit back and he would relax and he would kind of chill, and he'd take his time on the sofa listening to his favorite music. He'd take his time not only listening to his favorite music, but he spent time with us and he'd teach me about his music. My dad used to love listening to it on the LPs. Los discos grandes que se tocaban, mi papá lo escuchaba y se ponía audífonos así como yo. Si ustedes no están viendo aquí por el video, you'll see that headphones like these have been around forever. It's not just your coolest DJs, but my dad, who was a music fanatic, used to love listening to it. And you know what? I'm so happy that he decided to be my dad, that he decided to be my father. And, you get sentimental when this thing comes around, but it's a special person. And it might not be the father that gave life to you. It might be somebody else you see as a father figure. Give them that recognition. Maybe they're not receiving it from the son they actually had or the daughter they actually had, but they get it from you. It's a tough role. It's a big decision to make. And I'm going to take it back to a classic, which is a song that my father used to listen to on the sofa. And he used to sit back and relax and work in the bodega 7 days a week, 7 días a la semana en la bodega, 12 a 15 horas al día. El domingo era su día de descanso. Y demás eran por ciertas horas, no todo el día. Un poquito en la mañana o tal vez un poquito en la tarde porque cerraba temprano. But whatever time he got, whether it was a little in the morning or a little at the end, he would go ahead and listen to some salsa. And a lot of other music, but I remember a few of them. So I'm just happy he decided to be my dad. Estoy feliz de que él tomó la decisión de ser mi papá y le voy a dedicar esta canción. Esto es Rubén Blades, Decisiones.
De regreso con Anthony from the Neighborhood.
That's right, folks, and we're back here. Decisiones, una canción que tiene muchos diferentes escenarios. A lot of different scenarios about things that occur in people's life and the decisions that you make. And I'm just happy that, my dad came to a decision because, as you've known from other programs, I've talked about decisions. And the fact that you make a decision is an action. But if you don't make a decision, that lack of taking action is already a decision. So I really want to stress this out because, you make a commitment when you become a father. It's something that you take on. It's a job. It's huge. And there's so many things that have changed with being a dad. But I want to take it back to the history, not just of my own, but the history of Father's Day. ¿Qué tiene que ver el Día de Padres? ¿Y por qué es que le hacen tanta burla? Why do they make so much fun of Father's Day? El Día de Padres en español siempre dicen los días de perros. El Día de los Perros. And it's taken as a joke. Women joke about it. Men joke about it. But there was a struggle to establish Father's Day, especially here in the United States. I'm not sure about the rest of the country. The rest of the world. But in this country, it was definitely a struggle. Let's go to Mother's Day. Women go first. Ladies first. It's not just chivalry. But for Mother's Day, it was actually established first. Let's go back to 1908. It was established. This was created by Anna Jarvis, and it became an official U.S. holiday by 1914. To make a holiday isn't something you just pop out and say. You've got to get an approval through Congress and the president to try to get a holiday. Now, what happened with Father's Day And I got this information from the History Channel, so I'm going to just tell you this. It was a struggle. El Día de los Padres no fue algo que fue invitado con brazos abiertos para que nosotros tuviéramos un día de celebrar. No. Incluso muchos de los hombres dijeron que no querían un Día de Padres. So the nation first celebrated Father's Day, 1910, June 1910. But it wasn't a holiday. Fue el estado de Washington, in the state of Washington, celebraron en 1910 el primer Día de Padre. Now, when we go fast forward, it took about 62 years, 62 años después, para estabilizar el Día Nacional de los Padres. So guys, it took us 62 years to get something done. Either we got a problem on getting things done, or we have a problem accepting that the father should be recognized, that the father should be valued. The father's role is not a role of head of household, I call the shots. No, that's the stereotype. And on this show, we break apart the stereotype. We talk about what is it to be from the neighborhood. And the neighborhood exists in your mind, exists with your very next friend, exists with your entire family unit, outside your doors to whoever's in your building if you're in an apartment, or whoever's on your block if you're in the suburbs, and then beyond. And that's why you see some men and women who have changed the entire world because they've involved their neighborhood. So nosotros podemos incorporar nuestros vecindarios, cambiar el mundo si tenemos la vista más grande, pero tenemos que reconocernos nosotros mismos. So as fathers, we didn't recognize our own day for 62 years. And that's when the president, Woodrow Wilson, made Father's Day official. So let me just tell you what happened. You know, this was actually the origins of it. Actually came out because of a woman. So Father's Day came through because of a woman. Her name was Sonora Smart Dodd, one of 6 children, raised by a widower, tried to establish the official equivalent to Mother's Day for male parents. She went to local churches, the YMCA, shopkeepers, government officials to drum up support of the idea, and she was successful. Washington State was the first one to celebrate it. They tried to get it out. So in 1924, President Calvin Coolidge was trying to get all the states to observe Father's Day, and it wouldn't happen. And they were even trying to send it out through telegraph signals. And President Wilson basically was using telegraph signals. And I'm getting this right off of histories.com's website. So the History Channel, guys, they were sending telegraph signals to tell everyone that there's a special day for fathers and we should recognize it. And there was hundreds of fathers who were saying, absolutely not. I don't want flowers. I don't want gifts. I'm out here to work. I'm out here to just put something down for my family. They were not thinking about themselves. And I think that's crazy because a lot of times as men, we forget who we are, the importance of the role that we play. We forget the value we bring to the table because we're so busy out there trying to get the next meal on the table. We're so busy trying to prove something to the next man because we can't seem weak. We can't seem vulnerable. We hold it inside as if we've got this giant treasure chest where we have this luxury to give ourselves all this room for the junk. So we have to recognize ourselves. Tenemos que reconocer nosotros mismos como padres, las responsabilidades, las dificultades y compartirlo. Hablar sobre eso. Because remember, guys, to become a father, it wasn't just your idea. So it takes two. It takes two to make a family. And when you make a family, there's no right or wrong. It's what it is. But you could be the right person for that child, for that person in your family, whoever it is. You can be that right person. So with that, folks, I'm going to go to a quick break right now because I got a song because you know it takes two to make it. So my boys right here, Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock, are going to go with their jam, It Takes Two. Let's go.
De regreso con Anthony from the Neighborhood.
Yes, welcome back, folks. Y ya ustedes saben, estamos hablando hoy de Father's Day, el Día de los Padres. Y este es el día antes de los padres, o sea, like New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve. So we are talking about reflecting on this day before the barbecue comes out, before the beer, before the Sunday games, whatever it is that you're going to do tomorrow. Think about Father's Day from the point of view that I'm telling you. And this is probably something that very few people knew. It took 62 years to establish this holiday, 1910. We didn't get it till 1972. So I want to tell you the impact of Father's Day. El impacto que tiene el Día de Padres. It's not just bringing the family together, but it generates more than $1 billion in spending each year. Now, give me a big round of applause because that is huge for the economy. Father's Day gifts generate over $1 billion each year. So 1972 to 2023, we're going on to, what is that, like the 51st anniversary of Father's Day? Yeah, I missed it last year because I didn't know this myself. But 51 years of generating massive amount of economic activity. So let's talk about what dads like to get for the holidays. ¿Qué es lo que le gustan a los padres? Porque ya estamos haciendo $1 billón que se están generando entre la economía. Y hay cosas que los padres le gustan y hay cosas que los padres no le gustan. Pero por lo general, right, in general, what are fathers expecting? Well, you get a bunch of things, right? I mean, everybody says a tie. So not every father wears a tie. I got a collection of ties and I stopped wearing ties a long time ago. I still love them. They look so good. I mean, it's probably one of the few accessories we get. We can get into that, right? As guys don't have too many accessories. We can't do our nails. We can't do eyelashes. We can't do none of that stuff. So what do we got? A tie. All right. Maybe a tie clip. But it's not just ties. Tools. If your dad's into tools, gadgets, we're talking electronics. I mean, it seems like everything can be done by your phone. But can your phone do everything that you would imagine? Not yet. So let's not limit our imagination. Let's get that as cool gadgets. So gadgets are something, sports-related items. We're talking about collectibles. We're talking about items that they can actually play with. They can play with you. So if you want your dad to play something, I don't know, encourage him to buy baseball or basketball. And maybe he'll play with you because this is something he's looking forward to do, but he hasn't had the time to go get it himself. So you get the one you like and then say, come on, let's play. So a lot of personalized items. So this is something that us guys, we absolutely love. To say we have something that all the other guys say, wow, that's so cool. Where'd you get that from? That's something I would definitely recommend. So if you guys have like anything out there that you've been thinking about getting for your father, remember, think about personalized items, gadgets, tools. Try to stay away from the ties and just be observant. I think dads are pretty obvious. Dads kind of just spell it out and say, you know what, I really like that thing. Write it down. And that's probably something they've been wanting. They have a favorite team, get them the hat, get them the jersey, anything that it is. And honestly, sometimes my kids just draw stuff for me. And they didn't necessarily give me anything because they don't have money to buy it. But the fact that they sat down, they drew something that resembles something that I like tells me that they're listening. And you know what it should tell you guys? Para ustedes hombres que están allá afuera y piensan que nadie me pone atención en la casa, yo nada más traigo lo que tienen para gastar. Date cuenta que se están observando. They're looking at you. And these pictures that they're drawing is because they see something in you. I have so many pictures that my kids have drew of me wearing a cape. And I can't remember how many I've done for my dad. Like, we stand in a position that these kids see us and we're the biggest thing on earth. So if you have little ones on Father's Day, get down to their level, slow it down, and have a conversation. Get dirty, play, whatever it is they want to do. If you've got the time and you're there, be present and give them a bigger present than they gave you, which is your presence. Tu presencia es el regalo más grande que ellos puedan recibir. Especialmente un día así, donde todo el mundo está hablando de Father's Day, $1 billón se está gastando, you want to do that. And I want to get into something else. Here's a stereotype I want to break out. Siempre ponen al papá el malo, el duro. Ese no es tu día. So the enforcer, this is the father person, right? The guy who's like, I'm going to tell your father. Moms always say that. Wait till I tell your father. You're not the regulator. You're not the enforcer. You could. So does every parent does that. But you're not the regulator. You don't put down the rules like that. I mean, there's a way that you put through leadership, guidance, through encouragement, through motivation that connects with the child that doesn't necessarily have to be regulating him. You're their counselor. You're their different point of view on seeing things. So we don't have to be the regulator, but You know, at times you do have to be a parent, and I do understand, but you shouldn't be labeled that way. And if you are labeled that way in your household, you know what? It's not to their fault. Maybe that's the father they grew up with, or that's the label that's been carrying over for generations after generations. It took us over 60 years to get a holiday. So imagínense cuántas generaciones han pasado entre 60 años donde se sigue el mismo cuento. The same story repeating itself about what is a dad. Dad's going to regulate. No, dad's not going to regulate. As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you who's going to regulate because I got to go to a song right now. That's Warren G. And I'm going to go to this song right here because Warren G is going to regulate. Let's go.
De regreso con Anthony from the Neighborhood.
Y aquí regresamos hablando del tema de hoy, Father's Day. We've been having a blast with some songs that have obviously been helping us tell the story about Father's Day and the evolution of the father. La evolución de nosotros como padres. So, guys, if you don't know this already, I'm just going to recap. I'm a father of 3. It's a challenge every day. I try to figure it out, and I try to understand what's going on in these little minds, where this vast imagination exists, where this embodiment of who I am is more than what I see in the mirror. And I have to live up to that, where your wife is hanging on to her like dear, she's hanging on to her dear life, hoping that you're going to say the right thing to this little person. And sometimes you don't. Sometimes you just mess it up. And this is part of being human. Dads are not perfect. Dads are figuring it out. And we're trying to figure it out while still being the guy we want to be for our woman, for our spouse, our partner, and being that guy at work, right? In sports, whatever it is, there's so many identities we've got to keep up with that when you were young, you imagined these identities. You played Superman. You played the cop or the bad guy. But now this is real life. This is who you are. And as far as being a dad, we all can relate to the most popular TV dads. And I'm not going to pick Al Bundy from Married with Children. Maybe not the best role model, but very funny. Very, very funny. I will say, though, there were some other ones that were funny that were dads. You know, Homer Simpson, I mentioned him before. That was one that we would look at and say, that's a dad. But then you had other ones like Mufasa from The Lion King. That was a dad. You know, that Bob Saget from Full House. That was a dad. These are different identities of dads. You look at some of the best movies based on ratings, right? Based on ratings, been best movies for dads. You're talking about Finding Nemo. The dad from Finding Nemo apparently was an exemplary dad through his courage, his determination, his unconditional love. You know, how he went out there and taught lessons to his child who was a real knucklehead. You know, he went out there and he took the risk. Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith. This was 2006, based on a true story. The fighting, I mean, how he went through, like the fighting with the wife and the loss of the business. And then he, you know, amounted to become who he became. And he had his son by his side the entire time. There were other movies. The Lion King, obviously, I just mentioned it too, as well. Gifted was another movie. I'm sure there's tons. And we all seek this father figure in many ways. Some people have found their father figure or a version or a piece, a slice that they want to take away from the movies you would have never thought of. Like they saw maybe the movie Karate Kid and they were like, hey, Mr. Miyagi makes me feel this certain way. That's the kind of dad I want to be. But the point I'm getting at is the details. It's the little things that throw us off. It's the little things that got us to the big positions we are today. Now, I'm going to go a little deep here. Y voy a llegar a un punto que es un poquito not too comfortable. But guys, we need to talk about it. If I say the littlest things got us some of the biggest parts of life, got us to enjoy some of the biggest things in life, out of our bodies comes the smallest human cell. And I don't need to give it the name. La célula más pequeña del ser humano sale del cuerpo de nosotros y crea lo más grande de este mundo. So think about that. If it's in the details to become who you are, it's improving upon the millions and probably billions of little things that you do that you're maybe not even conscious of that will make you be the biggest person you can be. Because biologically, the smallest cell of the human body brings upon the biggest gift, which is the gift of life. So the details, guys, let's focus on the details. The details got us to having some of the best relationships. The smallest things, the best relationship with your dad, with your mom, the best relationship with your wife. Maybe how you met your wife. Maybe how you connected with her, how she fell in love with you was because of the details. The little things. You pulled out the chair, le abriste la puerta, la recogiste a tiempo, le compraste sus flores. These are the little things that you would say, maybe this is what led to the biggest accomplishments of life. De casarme, right? Getting married, it's a huge accomplishment, but it probably was in the details. Like I said, opening the door for her, getting there on time, buying some flowers, little simple things. Please, thank you. No, you go first, even though you know you're starving. Go ahead, babe, drink some of this. It's okay, even though you know you're thirsty. Those little sacrifices that many of them don't ever make the scoreboard, probably, the little detail, probably was what made the biggest parts of your life. Your wedding, the children, the family you have today could have been birthed out of those details. So look all around you. There's what is the dad you want to be, and then there's the stereotypical one. And it may not be exactly the reflection you want for your children, so make it what you want for your children. Become that dad with those small little things. Try your best. I started off with this segment with saying we're not perfect, pero trata. That's how you're going to get better. Practice makes masters, or mastery, right? So if you want to be a master at what you do, practica cada día en ser un mejor padre. Y no te me olvides los detalles. Y por eso voy con esta canción aquí, que es una canción de mi papá, favorite song of my dad, Oscar de León. Detalles, let's go.
De regreso con Anthony from the Neighborhood.
Así mismo, señores, no puede cambiar tu forma de ser, but yes, you can add to it. Puedes ir añadiendo mejores cosas a tu personalidad para que tú sigas creciendo. So it's not a matter of us saying, hey, let me just be something that's unnatural to me. Who you are already got you to where you are. But just as everything else, you go improving it. Just as a new model of a car comes out, you get better, more horsepower, whatever it is, you improve. So that's what I want you guys to do, is just to be the 100%, 1000% of a father that the kids are seeing. So with that, folks, we got to recognize something. New fathers, new dads, you're out there, something that's really big and people do not talk about. Post-partum depression. Now, right away, your mind's going to go into the woman. The woman has postpartum depression. She gave birth to the child. Do you know that men are suffering from postpartum depression? Feeling isolated, disconnected from the family, as if they're not a father. Feeling like, what do I do now? And more men now, as our roles have transformed, as women have gone to the workplace and so many other things have happened, which are all beautiful, more men want to play a more active role in the household. So I know, for example, I couldn't necessarily do all the things my wife was doing. She was super close to the child. She knew everything. She had the answers, but I knew how to wash bottles. I can wash baby bottles like nobody's business. Yeah, you can't take that away from me. I had the baby bottles, the pacifiers. I had it on regulation. I knew the expiration dates of everything, rotating the milks, making sure this one's the fresh one. So I took that. That was my job. And I did that the best I could. Emptying out the diaper trash, making sure I had the diaper genie, the whole thing. Yep, that was me. I figured that out because what else am I supposed to do? I couldn't do all the other things that the mom could do. And whenever I could jump in, it was the most exciting thing to change a diaper. So guys, what I'm trying to say is that if you're feeling down, if you feel like you don't belong in the space, because the mother-in-law pops in, the sister pops in, everybody pops in, and they all have a better answer just because it's a woman and it's not you. Just know you're still valid there. When you're struggling with that baby carriage up the flight of stairs, with the baby carrier, You're the one looking for parking, which is the closest so the baby doesn't get cold. Parking at the hydrant, probably running up, coming down, having a ticket. Just know that that doesn't go unnoticed. Everybody plays a part. Don't let it depress you. Don't let it put you down. Just know that you are rocking it. You're making it happen. You're rocking it out there, man. It's Father's Day. If this is your first Father's Day, celebrate and be like, you know what? I'm the man. And it's not a man because you want to boast on the basketball court or you got the flyest car or whatever it is. It's none of that. You're the man because you know what? You run up the flight of stairs, carry the box of the diapers, the formula, whatever it is, and you bring down what stinks because you want to make sure that the ones that are upstairs or inside your home are safe. They're not getting sick. There's not something coming after them. You're unclogging the drains. You're fixing everything you can fix around the house because everything's got to run smooth. This show doesn't happen because I'm the one sitting here talking on the mic. There's a bunch of guys, not just because it's Father's Day, but there's a bunch of guys behind the scenes making it happen. Be that guy. Be the one behind the scenes, the magic. It's not just the actor on TV. It's the guy behind the camera who's also making it happen. Be that person. And we all know some very famous people, so don't fall into the depression. If this is your first Father's Day, just know that you got a big role. And if this is not your first Father's Day and you've already been a dad and you're trying to figure it out, I'm going to give you a few duties and responsibilities of a dad that are going to give you some direction. And these are things you fall back on and you say to yourself, what am I supposed to do? Right? Diapers and all this other stuff. They're not wearing diapers anymore. What do I do? My kids are 11, 7, and 3. My son just turned 11, so I had to think for a second. And these guys need something different than when they were born. So, number one, be a provider. Think about what you can provide. Ideas, not just money, guys. It's not money. It's ideas, it's influence, it's faith, it's whatever it is. You can provide them an outlet. They can see you and be like, Dad's home, we're going to the park. You can be that person. Bring something to the table. That's it. Just bring something to the table, and it doesn't have to be money. And while you're there, listen to them. The kids say the craziest stuff. My son will repeat something 4 or 5 times, and I do my best to hear it. Sometimes I fail, but I do my best to hear it because you're like a celebrity. You're the most interesting person in their life. You're gone for 8 to 10 hours a day, and they're wondering, where did you go? And how do you make this stuff happen when you get home? Right? Why is it that mom is so happy to see you? This is contagious. Don't let it go in vain. Be a good listener. And that's spending time with your child. That's really just like hanging out with them and leading by example. If they see you get up early, they're going to get up early. If they see you want to go outside and play, you want to have some fun, they want to go outside and have some fun. It's all what you do. And that's why I was talking about the details before. And you got to show them that, especially if you have a son, you got to show them that you're not invincible, that you're vulnerable, that things hurt you. So they also feel comfortable in crying, expressing themselves. They feel comfortable in just being human. They feel okay with saying sorry. So my son's the oldest, and he's got 2 sisters. Poor guy, man. He's got 2 sisters. They're tough. But if he says sorry and he's older than them, then they'll say sorry. Because they've probably seen me say sorry. And it's sometimes difficult. Sometimes you got to swallow your pride, right? Like, you know you're right about something, but you know what? Does it matter more to be right? Or does it matter more to get along, maybe learn something from the situation versus proving somebody wrong? Think about that. What do you really want from your family? So your kids are going to see this and they're going to say to themselves, I can say sorry because I'm not supposed to get it all right. My dad didn't get it right, and he's Superman. So if Superman got it wrong, so can I. So let your kids feel that it's an okay space. It's all right. It's all right to do that. But I mean, either way, guys, you're absolutely going to kill it out there. Kids are going to look for different things in different dads, and you're going to be that dad for them. So this Father's Day, what you're putting on the grill, I'm not sure right now, but if you're putting burgers, hot dogs, whatever it is, you're the master of the grill. If you're not doing the barbecue grill and you guys decided to go out and wherever it is you decided to go, and you're the one driving, you're like the captain of the ship. The kids are looking at you like, where are we going? Our captain is taking us on a journey. And you know, kids, they imagine they're in spaceships. They imagine all sorts of stuff. So to them, even though wherever you're going might be something you've already seen, to them, it's a whole world. You might find like, oh, this playground's a little small. They're small. So the kids will see this playground as huge. Just be the person that takes them there. Just be that superstar, that hero. Like all the people we've seen on TV. Be that dad. And there's a whole bunch of things that we can talk about here. I just want you guys to feel encouraged. Recognize that we're vulnerable. Recognize that we haven't given ourselves the credit we could have given ourselves. Recognize that there's so many things that we forgot. You know, there's so many things that we thought we had under control. We thought we knew about Father's Day, but we didn't really want to recognize our own holiday. No le queríamos dar reconocimiento al Día de Padre, que fue nuestro propio día, que nos quiso dar una mujer diciendo que debemos tener algo igual para los padres. We said no. So there's a lot of work we need to do. And I know in other countries, they observe Father's Day as St. Joseph's Day. So maybe this isn't the exact day because you follow it based on the religious calendar. Celebrate it one day of the year. Si no es mañana que lo están celebrando, domingo. I think it's the third Sunday of every June here in the U.S. If it's not that, then celebrate it whenever your country celebrates it. For example, Australia celebra el Día de Padres en el primer domingo de septiembre. So first Sunday of September, Australia. Shout out to you guys. Europe, many of the countries celebrated the third Sunday of June, very similar to the United States. But then Latin America and other countries might celebrate it whenever St. Joseph's Day is, which I believe is also in September. So whatever it is, take that day and do it. Celebrate it. Have it be a day of celebration and know that you're absolutely going to rock it. You're absolutely going to do it. And I've had a lot of fun sharing with this story with you guys. I mean, there's just so much I can go into. But know that as I went through these songs that I shared with my father, as I went through these songs that helped me emphasize the message, right? I went to It Takes Two because it does take two. I went to songs like Regulate because that's what we get listed as, a regulator. That's not who we are. There's a lot more to us. I went to Detalles because the details get you to connect with your family. I went to Decisiones because the decisions you make in your life set the path for your family tree. I went to Bad Boys to start because that's how they see us. We're the bad boys. We're the ones who do this. We're the ones who do that. Guys, there's so much more to us. And there's so much more that we haven't recognized about us. And the most important thing is, how could we be there for everyone else if we haven't been there for ourselves to begin with? We have to be there for ourselves. So let us have our day. Let us celebrate our day. Don't discount your day, your birthday, your anniversary day, your Father's Day. Don't discount it. Get out there. Show them who you are. Let them know you're going to rock it. Let them know you're going to have fun. You're going to blast off with these kids into whatever imagination they have. And whatever trip you're going to take them on. Whatever journey it is. I don't care if it's a blanket over a bunch of chairs because we ain't got the money to go anywhere, kids, but we're going to imagine we're camping out and Dad's the big bear. Whatever it is, guys, bring that imagination forward and take this day and knock it out the park. Have a blast. Rock it, man. That's all I got to tell you. Just go ahead and do it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go to a quick break and I'm going to wrap up the show with this. I should wrap up the show with this, guys. My man right here, Jay-Z, I'm going to take it back to Brooklyn because that's where I'm from. And we were going back into history, so might as well. I'm going to go back to Brooklyn with this one here. We took away a lot of things from today. But Jay-Z is going to give you the song to amp you up and give you the courage, the confidence, the willpower to be the best dad you can be from this day forward. And I'm going to end this show. So next time, I'm going to see you back in the neighborhood. But you go ahead and enjoy this jam. It's the Rock Boys by Jay-Z. Let's go.